So I feel like I'm too tall if I sit straight. But I will try to manage with this because I don't have a good camera. I just using my phone, the best phone ever, OnePlus 6T. Y'all should buy it too. So, anyways, today's subject it is mixed race, or how do I feel as a mixed race or a person with color, however you want to put it. And I even hate the term of mixed race, kind of. Not always, kind of. Sometimes it sounds like, oh my god, so cool, I have mixed cultures and colors in me. But sometimes it's like, I'm half this and half that, Even I actually hate the word have more than mixed. Yeah. At least mixed is somehow like polite, but half is like half. Yeah. And how I came up with this idea, it has been long, like for a long time in my head, actually, but I just never had time, maybe the courage, or I don't know. It just like kept on like, I kept on pushing it like, yeah, one day. Okay. And then also sometimes I feel like I have overcome those traumas which I had in childhood or after the childhood till my teenage years or till I got a teen adult, how they say, a young adult, anyways. So those things are not so much bothering me anymore. But sometimes I come across these important matters, and I felt like it's good to inspire people and share my own thoughts. Okay. First of all, I want to state here, I am not talking about behalf anyone else except myself. I'm talking about from my own personal journey, from my own personal experience, and from my own cat goddamn mouth, okay? And I I'll tell you guys some examples that might refer to like my dancing, or my working life, or my family, or my friends. But I'm not concentrating here on any of those, like specifically what I mean. So, well, how can I start? First of all, let me start with my ethnicity, my race, whatever, where I come from. So, I am born in Finland, or I was born in Finland, but I have some East African in me. That's how I like to put it, okay? And not some, quite a lot, okay? I am, my father is from Tanzania, my mom is from Finland, okay? That tells you a lot, okay? And as I told you, I was born here. And I was raised here most of the time, okay? Somewhere when I was, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, something like that, I spent 6 months in my dear home country, Tanzania. And I like to say home country because it is my home country. And my father always tells me, no matter how much they call you Finnish, this and that, you're still one of us, okay? So I'm like, yeah, it's safe to say. And yeah, and I have spent a lot of time getting to know the other side of me. So, which I mean, the other side of me is my Tanzanian culture. Some mixed race people, they don't like to define themselves like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, okay? Or they don't like to get to know at all the other race which they come from. And I think that's kind of sad, but I understand because we are all humans and we have our own opinions and we get to choose what we want to be in this life, okay? But of course, you have to take like responsibility that you don't just do whatever the fuck you want, okay? So, I have went to Tanzania the past 3 or 4 years, almost 1 or 2 times in a year. Okay, and this summer I spent there 2 months. Okay, it was wonderful and it was shitty. Okay, because when I go there, it's like, oh, there she comes with a lot of money and good looking. But that's what they see, like mostly like I am white. They're like, oh my god, this white girl. And then when they hear or see me acting like speaking in their language, or I mean in our language, Swahili, and they're like, oh my god. I cannot speak it fluently, but I know some. Okay, but then I have come to this conclusion in my life, actually since I was 15, 14, something like that. I have always known what I want and who I am. Okay, no matter who told me, I was like, you cannot define who I am because you don't know who I am, really. So that's what I want you guys to know, that no matter who tells you this or that, it's only in your heart, only inside of you. You know who you are, really. Okay? So, sometimes people told me, like, when I started figure skating, and I did that for 12 years. Yeah, I did. They were like, oh, so you're doing this white people hobby. How does it feel? And I'm like, okay, excuse me? Because, yes, I am white. And now you're looking at me like, no, you're black, you're brown, you're whatever. You're not white. Yeah, I am white. Okay? Because there is white in me. I wouldn't be this light or whatever if I wouldn't be half white. Okay? And then I was like, okay, whatever, they're just talking. But then my childhood years, I spent a lot of time, with, let's say, Caucasian people. And most of my friends, they were Caucasian, but they were never racist. They actually accepted me the way I am. They kind of liked me, like, they didn't never question like, oh, she's black. Like, can you see that? They were always accepting me, and I found out that the way you behave, the way you act, the way you are, the way you express yourself, the first impression you give to people is always how they judge you. Okay? It might not actually be about the color. My grandmother, people would say she's racist, but have you ever thought about that she has lived the whole life like with white people mostly, okay? And then when she sees a black person act a little bit different, some black people have a bad attitude. And some Caucasian people, they have a bad attitude too. But it just happened to be that all those situations my grandmother met, black people, they were not maybe that polite. And sometimes they didn't behave well, good manners. And we are not talking about oh, because you're black, you're dirty. No, not in that type of basic human manners, okay? Those are really important to my grandmother. So that's why she might judge. But then, for example, when she met my father, my boyfriend, some of my friends, it's like, oh my god, these people, they're nice, And sometimes it's like, Siko, I'm not racist. I'm like, yeah, I know, okay? And she never used the word nigga or anything like that, okay? Sometimes she's like, oh my god, this person is so black. But because she's not used to that environment, she has not lived with people who are black. Now, maybe when she grow older, now she has seen, but in Finland there was white people at her teenager years only. So how can you expect a person to understand, Also, they need time to accept the new environment, just like for black people, okay? So I think it's fair enough. And then, sometimes in my family, they're like, you should be like this because you come from here, or you should be like this because you come from here. And then I'm like, wait, I never promised you guys, because you're telling me this, I have to be like them. Okay. So I hate when people push me to be something. I even get it from my from my own goddamn parents, but I love them and I understand them. Okay. So it's not always about agreeing with everybody, but it's about understanding each other. I think that is one of the most important things we need to understand, because understanding, love, and peace will kill us so much more than arguing and being mad and being aggressive about topics like this. Okay. Sometimes the way you come to some person, it might be rude because you don't think about it. Okay. And for example, I get these questions like, so where do you come from? Sometimes I'm like, what should I say? Finland, Tanzania. Should I just say I was born in? I don't know really. And then I start having this big essay about my background, and then they're like, okay. And then sometimes I tell them like, I come from Tampere because that's where I was born. Like, no, I mean like, like where you were born. I was born here. So that annoys me sometimes because it's like, I understand people are curious and it's okay to ask, but the way they ask is like, oh my god, you're so exotic and everything. I just want to know that, oh my god, your hair, like, it's like, sometimes it's just like, no, okay, let me just be. But then again, they don't know. So of course we have the responsibility, but to just sometimes I wish people would think like how many times we get to be asked that question, like, where do you come from? And actually in our school we had this getting to know each other, and they were asking like, okay, so where do you come? And I felt like I always took like 5 or 2 minutes to explain where I actually come from, and then the others are like Russia, Finland, Vietnam, like, that type of questions. And I think this is not only a black people issue. This is issue with Asian people. This issue with everybody who's mixed. Okay, so I'm not defining here like only the black people. Okay, I'm defining the whole world, or I'm talking about in generally. Like, I also have a lot of friends who are mixed, like maybe half Asian, Spanish, Latino, like the Arabics or something like that. There's a lot of like diversity in our population nowadays, and I think that's great, because one day I believe there will be a land of okay, let's not go that deep, but I was actually thinking that would it be possible to have new nation out of all of us mixed people, and also then there's like people mixed inside of Africa also. There might be like Kenyan mixed to Somalian, or let's say, what is this country? Oh, one of my friend is actually my best friend is mixed. Oh my god, I'm losing. Don't hate me. Congolese and Rwanda. Yes, I got it. So, and then, we got to understand that in Africa, when the colonies came and everything, and they left us there with a mess, they left us there with a big ass mess, okay? Because, like, some countries and some tribes, they don't work with each other till now, this day. Do you guys understand that? So when a person is mixed with this tribe or with from this country and that country, and those countries don't come together, how can you understand the racism they get? Like, can you understand the hate they get sometimes? Like, I feel for them. Like, what I might be experiencing is nothing to compare to them, okay? And then there comes this big question about our own identity. Who are you? And I have decided I am Sigurd Jane Amadambond. Okay, I am not half white and half black. And I don't like people to push me to that side or this side just because I happen to be one of them. It's really hard for even us. Sometimes it's really confusing to find like who we are actually, because like there comes a lot of expectations and pressure from other parts of our lives, and it's not easy, but for us to be able to make it easy for us, we have to know first who we are. And then when we know who we are, nobody can fuck with us. Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to know our own history. It's always good to know our own history. But well, like my father said, we don't have to live the history, okay? We are the generation of, like, new generation. We have to know our roots, but we're now living this day. So why don't we change what's happening now and not what happened behind? Because we cannot change the past, okay? So some people get stuck here and then they don't know how to move forward. And that's sad, really. That's really sad, okay? And yeah, there's a lot of good and bad sides. And, even myself, I find sometimes myself racist. Like, when I talk about stereotypes, and it comes like, you don't even realize, it just comes like, oh, that person is so white. And then you're like, oh my God, that's wrong, We should not change that. So even I, myself, I have to look in the mirror sometimes and be like, no, that was yeah, So we are responsible for our own actions, for our own education. Like everything we do, we're responsible for that. And I think when we know that, we get really far, okay? And what this person says, it doesn't really matter to you. Like, only what you think matters. Okay, now I would like to refer to my working life and how I have got racist through that. I've been a dance teacher of Afrobeat and twerking. I felt there was a lot of pressure from people to push me on this side or on this side because I happen to be black somehow, and they wanted me to be something that I am not. And I didn't actually have to explain what I do and why I did it, because I definitely am confident about what I'm doing, and I don't live in social media. So sometimes when people come and tell me, why don't you speak about this and this and that, I could speak about it. But I think the best change and the best way we can educate people is in dance classes. Like, y'all, we don't live in social media, okay? I actually hate the social media. I only use it like for my working and for my business like matters, but sometimes it just annoys me a lot. Like people like to live there, and especially when they try to tear people down. Like no matter how black you are, it doesn't give you any like privilege to be rude to someone. Okay, we can talk about things, but still we have to have the responsibility. If the white people have to have the responsibility of educating themselves, as us black people, we have to have the responsibility to come forward in a polite way, okay? There's a lot of anger in us, but we don't have to live the history. Again, I'm repeating this, but we don't have to live the history. We have to know the history and be aware of it, okay? But this is now. This is what is happening now, and that's how we have to go forward, okay? And also, dance is a power, and I like to use it in a good way. I don't want to use it in a way that, like, let's talk about this and this here and status. No, I'm using my dancing to inspire people, give them love, and educate them. But if you want to learn that, you come to my dance classes. That's it. Period. Oh yeah. And sometimes when I go to Tanzania, they call me Mzungu. So that's like a white person. And I like to tell them, yeah, my name is Sikujua. So then they get confused. They're like, oh my God, you have a Swahili name. So they're like, ooh. So people like to judge a lot about what they see, but they don't actually know. So you yourself, you have to be strong enough to know like what is right and what people can say about you, And setting those limits will help you a lot, like according to your work life, like in your future with your family and everything. Because I want to be able to teach my children, like, you have to defend yourself and you have to be strong enough in this world because people will try to tear you down. I just wanted to do this video to just, like, I don't know, help you guys out, inspire you, show some love, and just like share good vibes and tell you that it's not supposed to be that hard, okay? Let's make our life easy. And I know it gets dark sometimes, but we get through it. We overcome our things. And concentrating on inner self is the number one key to everything, I think so. Okay, now this went more deep than the mixed race, but anyways. There was my thoughts about it, and I hope you guys understood something, or maybe you felt the same way. You can relate to it. But